This is happiness, to be everything at once. Be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Mood Prep. My name is Dave Nixon, and today we're going to talk about probably one of the things that I see a lot. I suppose maybe even in my own thinking, definitely at some stage it was, for sure. Maybe that's understanding the models of developmental work that I even teach. But I want to talk about strategies today, and how they're more often than not, the need for a strategy is actually pointing at the problem. And sometimes, as useful as strategies are for whatever it is that you're trying to do, setting goals, overcome anxiety, to being more present. That's sort of works back in on itself. It doesn't really work, does it? But the strategies in general. Now, the issue with strategies is that it's almost like we're trying to put a strategy onto the strategy, right? So think about it this way: strategy is usually a plan to follow to achieve an outcome. Now, often the problem we have is actually an outcome that we have followed. We just didn't plan for it, but often it's a pattern. So whether we realize or not, we had an unknown strategy that basically unraveled and caused this problem, and so we're trying to strategize over a strategy. Right. The other thing that a strategy often points to, and like I said, it's not that it's not useful. It's not like I don't use them, right? It's that it often points to the point that we don't trust ourselves. The strategy is there to try and keep ourselves safe or to give us more confidence to deal with something. Now, more often than not, we're just not simply trusting ourselves. And I'm making it simple. It's more complex than this, but simply not trusting ourselves to actually fucking show up in that moment as we are and deal with the situation and the feedback of that situation as it is, right? We're trying to strategize on how to talk to a particular person or strategize on how to deal with our anxiousness in a particular situation. But the strategy is what's causing the issue in the first place. The idea that we need a strategy to cope with the issue points to it as well. And this is where the core work of all of my work, of all the work that I've gone through and learnt, is that more often than not, we want to work back to the unfolding of the fucking human, of the actual human in front of us. And strategies can continue to encourage this person to show up as the strategy rather than as they are. For the core of all of us, we are going to be protected and safe and loved in each situation, because more often than not, we didn't realize, but we were actually taught that protection is external to us, right? That love is external to us. But these are all feelings that are actually within us, right? Now, there's certain things that can still apply to it. It doesn't mean we should just completely ignore anything external. What it's pointing to here is that if you're building a strategy, right, and it's in face of, or it's in service of, not trusting yourself to deal with the conversation as it unravels, to deal with the anxiousness that arises in you in that moment, right? To deal with how you may say yes or no to food, to training, whatever. If you're trying to put a strategy in place, it will work for a small period of time. But the core of it, more often than not, like 98 times, comes back to this idea that you just don't trust yourself. Now, sometimes this is so far removed that it's hard to make the connection. But the amount of times I've sat down and talked through this with particular people is that the strategy stops the person from showing up, right? They're afraid, but if they show up as they fucking are, as they literally learn to unfold and trust themselves in that moment, then we get to see them. The strategy, like a personality, we get to see the personality or the strategy, and therefore they're hiding behind the strategy or personality and being protected by the subjective frames of mind. And this stops us from growing up and showing up. Whereas when we learn to really just allow ourselves to be vulnerable in that moment, doesn't mean to be ignorant or not plan, right? Because showing up is like the structure, showing up is a plan. as we are, and trusting that we're going to be okay regardless, that we are loved, not that we need it, then this is where we start to grow up. This is where we really start to mature. This is where we start to really lean into our potential and trust ourselves. And this can be the biggest jump for most people. It can be absolutely the biggest jump for a lot of people to actually fucking trust themselves, not to do it right. That's not the right way to think about it. Very rarely we hear me say that, but it's not. It's not about trusting yourself to do it right. It's about trusting yourself because you are the process, right? That maybe along the process you're going to fumble, you're going to stumble, you're going to fall over, whatever that means for you. But trusting that you're going to be okay, you're going to get back up, and you're going to keep moving, right? Maybe keep achieving, but even in failure we achieve anyway. So when do we actually stop achieving? And when we achieve, we also fail. We can't do one without the other because we fail to learn the lessons that a loss would have given us. You see, failure and achievement is always occurring in every moment, everywhere. It can't not. But it's the idea that we become the achievement or we become the failure. And then we need a strategy to get over that. We need a strategy to feel that good feeling again, which is simply stopping us from feeling that now as we are. Showing up and going, yeah, I lost today as far as the game's concerned, but I'm not interested in that nearly as much as I'm interested in giving the world the best version of me, right? And when we focus on that, you'll find that you will reach your potential as opposed to continually attempting to, whether that's to be the best or whatnot. So many people can lose the focus on being the best in the world, yet they'll still be second best to themselves. They'll lie to themselves. They'll cheat themselves. But their eyes are on best in the world as if it's somebody else's decision. And this can be mind-bending stuff when we sit down and really unpack it. And it's not to discourage you from fucking hustling or going hard or working hard or crashing or anything. It's encouraging you to do all of it. But just not in the face of you not showing up. Not in the face of protecting you against something that's weakening you. And more often than not, strategies are weakening you. They're getting you a result, but they're still protecting you. And what's happening when we do that is that we never ever get to mature our true self. And we don't get to strengthen our true self. And that self is where the superhuman powers lay. And so we might become a strong child, but we never become this unbreakable adult. And this idea of the unbreakable adult, it's the same as Keanu Reeves, is that shit just keeps happening to him. And he gets back up. Right? Not just in movies, in life, everywhere. It's like when you break him, he gets stronger. And the space there for all of us, the lesson is to be able to be vulnerable, is to trust ourselves in the moment, and then to be able to not just bounce back, because that presupposes that a loss is down, right? It means that whether we win, we get back up. Whether we lose, we get back up. Because winning and losing is a static snapshot of your whole life. There's going to be wins and losses. And in wins, there's losses. And in losses, there's wins. So keep focusing on your unfolding, because it's the only thing that's actually true for here, for now, forever. And on that note, team, I am done. If you found this podcast beneficial, it would mean the world to me if you'd pass it on to someone else that you think would also find it beneficial. If you haven't already, Facebook community, fucking every time, or at least every second time. Mood Prep Community on Facebook. Google it, search it, jump on it. I'd love to see you in there. Team, I'm out. Peace and pizza. Kick today in the dick. Slay the dragon. I'll see you guys soon.
To be everything at once, be unblinded, be unlearned, be unbridled and unburned.